The stage lights have dimmed and candidates now hope to soak up the limelight after last night's Republican debate in California. The primetime debate lasted 3 hours with 11 candidates taking shots at President Obama and each other. Catherine Szeltner reports from the White House tonight. Catherine?
Brian, even with 3 hours, the 11 candidates had to elbow their way into the spotlight. The presidential candidates came out swinging on immigration and even children's vaccination. But it sounds like everyone in the GOP field is vying for the pro-life pick.
It is a felony with 10 years jail term to sell the body parts of unborn children for profit. That's what these videos show Planned Parenthood doing.
CNN debate moderators covered Planned Parenthood at least 6 times, according to data journalism site 538, following only questions on foreign policy. Candidates got to hit the pro-life topic head on.
I'm pro-life, and I think you need to be pro-life for more than just the time in the womb.
Life is a gift from God, and from beginning to end, we need to respect it and err on the side of life. And so I defunded Planned Parenthood.
But it was Carly Fiorina who challenged Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton to watch the undercover Planned Parenthood videos.
Watch a fully formed fetus on the table, its heart beating, its legs kicking, while someone says we have to keep it alive to harvest its brain.
The debate also turned to religious liberty concerns following the Supreme Court ruling on marriage. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee says asking Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis to uphold the recent law is a criminalization of Christianity.
We made accommodation to the Fort Hood shooter to let him grow a beard. You're telling me that you cannot make an accommodation for an elected Democrat county clerk from Rowan County, Kentucky?
Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush agrees, but says Davis should respect the rule of law.
I was opposed to the decision, but you can't just say, well, gays can't get married now. But this woman, there should be some accommodation for her conscience.
The debate had its share of lighter moments, including a surprise mention of a revered Catholic. When asked which woman he would put on the $10 bill, Ohio Governor John Kasich replied, Mother Teresa. Brian?
Good choice. Thank you, Catherine Szeltner at the White House. Michael Warren is staff writer for the Weekly Standard. And Michael, whose campaign gets a boost from the debate?
Well, obviously, this was Carly Fiorina's night. She
was
really
strong.
She really was strong. You saw it in that video just there. But not just on the life issue, on a whole host of issues that are important to Republicans. She was on fire, really. And I think she really gets the biggest boost because going into this debate, she probably had the most to gain. She was rising in the polls, but not very well known to Republican voters. Besides Fiorina, I think Marco Rubio also has the most to gain from this. It was a lot of foreign policy questions. That's sort of his forte. He's been really quiet during the summer of Donald Trump. This is, I think, a good opportunity for Rubio to sort of launch into the fall and as we get closer to those first primaries.
Speaking of Trump, listen to this exchange between Donald Trump and Jeb Bush.
Your brother and your brother's administration gave us Barack Obama because it was such a disaster those last 3 months that Abraham Lincoln couldn't have been elected.
You know what? As it relates to my brother, there's one thing I know for sure. He kept us safe. I don't know if you remember.
He gets an applause for that. What do you think that does for him, for Bush's campaign?
Well, that was probably the best moment for Jeb Bush, and it was not a very good debate for Jeb Bush, and there were a lot of those kind of back and forths with Donald Trump, and that was kind of expected. He didn't always win them. That was an interesting moment, I think, because we've been expecting that Jeb Bush has to sort of distance himself from his brother.
He's been doing that.
And he has been doing that. Yeah. This showed really that Republicans are maybe missing George W. Bush, or certainly think of him more fondly than they did in the last 7 years or so when the Bush administration was fresher in their minds. Now they're maybe a little more fond of him, and it tells you that maybe Jeb should embrace his brother more.
Michael, I've got to ask you this. Do these made-for-TV shows really do anything to help us determine who would be the best president? I mean, this is really a kind of a reality show, so-called reality show.
Right. I think it depends on how each candidate uses it. I think if you're a candidate who again, like Carly Fiorina, not that well known, you have a little momentum, you can really use it to your advantage and sort of speak directly to Republican primary voters at this moment. But of course, there's all kinds of opportunities for not just Donald Trump, but primarily Donald Trump to sort of grandstand and to really make a show out of it. But in those 3 hours, I do think that we heard a lot of sort of debate about policy, whether it was entitlement policy, which is a very sort of contentious debate within the Republican primary, also foreign policy as well. There was some nuggets of interesting discussion there, and I think we got that out of last night's primary.
Well, CNN certainly made a show of it. The buildup looked like it was going to be the Super Bowl. Michael Warren with the Weekly Standard. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Brian.